Learning Outcome 1.0 focuses on understanding the various options available for sourcing requirements from suppliers. Sourcing is a critical stage within procurement and supply management because it determines how organizations obtain the products, services, and resources necessary to achieve operational and strategic objectives. This learning outcome develops the learner's understanding of sourcing processes, supplier selection methods, outsourcing considerations, and sourcing strategies. Procurement professionals are expected to evaluate sourcing alternatives carefully to ensure decisions deliver value, support operational continuity, manage risks effectively, and align with organizational sustainability and governance objectives within complex supply environments. A major area of study within this learning outcome is understanding the sourcing process and its relationship to the CIPS procurement cycle. Learners examine the definitions of sourcing and outsourcing and explore make-or-buy decisions that determine whether activities should be performed internally or externally. The module also introduces concepts such as intracompany trading, strategic sourcing, and tactical sourcing approaches. Procurement professionals must evaluate the costs, benefits, and operational implications of outsourcing both core and non-core activities. These sourcing decisions significantly influence organizational flexibility, supplier dependency, operational efficiency, and long-term business performance, making sourcing strategy an essential element of procurement and supply management. The learning outcome also examines different sourcing approaches used when engaging external suppliers. Learners study single sourcing, dual sourcing, and multiple sourcing arrangements while analyzing the operational advantages and risks associated with each model. Single sourcing may strengthen supplier relationships and simplify management, whereas multiple sourcing can reduce supply risk and encourage competitive pricing. The module further explores tendering methods and direct negotiation processes commonly used during supplier selection. Procurement professionals must select sourcing approaches that align with organizational objectives, market conditions, operational requirements, and risk management priorities to ensure procurement activities remain efficient, resilient, and commercially effective. Supplier selection criteria form another important aspect of Learning Outcome 1.0. Learners analyze the factors organizations use when evaluating potential suppliers, including financial stability, technical capability, quality standards, sustainability performance, and operational reliability. The module introduces the interpretation of financial indicators such as profitability, liquidity, gearing, and cash flow when assessing supplier viability. Procurement professionals must understand how different selection criteria influence sourcing outcomes and supplier performance. Effective supplier evaluation reduces procurement risks, strengthens supply continuity, and supports the development of reliable supplier relationships that contribute positively to organizational objectives, operational performance, and long-term business sustainability. Award criteria used in sourcing decisions are also explored extensively within the module. Learners study how procurement professionals evaluate supplier proposals using criteria such as price, whole-life asset management costs, technical merit, added value solutions, and environmental, social, governance, and ethical considerations. The learning outcome emphasizes that sourcing decisions should not focus solely on lowest cost but should also consider long-term organizational value and responsible sourcing principles. Procurement professionals are encouraged to adopt balanced evaluation methods that support sustainability, innovation, supplier capability, and operational performance while maintaining fairness, transparency, and compliance throughout procurement activities and supplier engagement processes. The learning outcome further highlights the strategic importance of responsible sourcing within modern procurement environments. Procurement professionals must consider environmental impact, ethical standards, labor practices, and social responsibility when selecting suppliers and designing sourcing strategies. Organizations are increasingly expected to demonstrate responsible procurement practices that align with stakeholder expectations, governance frameworks, and sustainability commitments. The module demonstrates how sourcing decisions influence not only operational and financial performance but also organizational reputation, regulatory compliance, and long-term stakeholder trust. Responsible sourcing, therefore, becomes an important contributor to organizational resilience, ethical governance, and sustainable business development across increasingly global supply chains. Overall, Learning Outcome 1.0 of Ethical and Responsible Sourcing, L4M4, provides learners with a comprehensive understanding of sourcing strategies, supplier evaluation, and responsible procurement practices. The module develops the ability to analyze sourcing options, assess supplier suitability, evaluate procurement risks, and apply balanced sourcing criteria that support organizational objectives and sustainability goals. Learners gain valuable insight into how strategic sourcing decisions contribute to operational efficiency, supplier relationship management, governance, and long-term business value creation. By understanding sourcing principles and supplier selection processes, procurement professionals are better prepared to support ethical, resilient, and strategically aligned procurement and supply chain operations.